All right, I'm in a bit of a situation here. We got a storm rolling through. I was out for a ride with my buddy Dan and headed back south towards home. There's a bit of a storm system rolling through. As you can see here, this road is closed due to high water. I was considering crossing it, but I don't think that's a good idea, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, the storm is over here behind these trees, and it's moving that way. Home is right there. So my plan is to get around this situation somehow. I'm going to go back out and track that way. And then we're going to kind of follow the storm from behind and hopefully make it home without getting struck by lightning. But I figured what better time than right now than to check out some of the latest additions to the Triumph Scrambler. As you can see, she's pretty dirty today. I've got caught in the rain a couple times already, but I wanted to share my new tires. These are the Shinko 804, 805, 60/40 dual sport tires. Look at that, it's got a rock in there. I just got them installed. I had the break-in service done on the Triumph. As you can see here, we are at 930 miles. We've been racking them up. That's the whole idea with this thing. Get the miles going. In addition to the dual sport tires, I also got these Barkbusters installed. I talked about it in previous videos, but the ones that come on the bike are not super robust. These things are going to be great when I drop the bike. And then I also got the upper crash bar. So the Scrambler is in a good place. I've really been enjoying it. And as you can see, I'm about at 1,000 miles. And the more I get to know this bike, I'm happy to report the more I like it. Also, it seems like the character of the bike is changing as I continue to break it in. It seems like it's getting worn in. The exhaust kind of sounds different, I was noticing today. It's a good bike. So far, so good. So let's see if we can make it home here. A little bit of a different flavor of a video today. And I figured I'd talk about my first impressions with these new tires too. Start with a little bit of a water crossing. First time ever doing that on a motorbike. Nice. Actually, probably clean off some of the mud. So yeah, first impressions on the tires, I was pleasantly surprised at how smooth they are. I'd never really had a knobbier set of tires, and I know that these aren't proper knobby tires, but they're the knobbiest tires I've ever had. And I don't know, I guess I was just expecting to be able to feel it a little bit more when you're riding on the road specifically. And I'm happy to report that these things just feel basically like actually I'm gonna go this way. They basically feel like the stock rubber for the most part. They're very smooth on the road so far. My understanding is that they are going to wear out a little bit faster, especially if you're riding mostly on the road, which I probably will be, but it will be nice for when I'm off pavement a little bit. So in the previous videos, you saw kind of my first foray onto the Great Ohio Adventure Trail, and generally just kind of experience off pavement riding really for the first time. I've done a bit of it on the monkey bike, and obviously I had done a lot of off-road riding growing up on BMX bikes and mountain bikes and whatnot. But yeah, nothing on a motorcycle, and so this is all kind of new, uncharted territory for me. And because of that, I want something that is going to give me the most experience. I saw this earlier and it says road closed, but I'm wondering if I can pass. I don't have a choice because the other road has high water. Oh, I can see why this is not an operable road anymore. Oh yeah, we can get through here. This is cool. And this exactly is a great example of where the knobbies just give me a little bit more confidence. Braking downhill, wet mud and leaves. I slid out on the back a little bit there, but ultimately it hooked up and it's fine. There's the river that is causing the high water. Okay, so at this stop sign right here, let's take a look at the weather and see what the storm behavior is looking like. Okay, so I'm learning. I know in the previous video I mentioned that this horizontal phone mount, that I didn't like it and that I was going to change it back, but I'm actually beginning to grow to like it. I like the low profile nature of it on my bars. It doesn't obstruct my view at all. Okay, so here's what we're working with. So my plan, let's see if I can pause it. You can see the storm is going this way. I'm right here. My plan is, as this little tail section goes through, I'm going to try to sneak down through this little opening to my home, which is right there in Canton. That's the goal. We'll see how wet I get. Let's not waste any more time. So I've read specifically that these types of tires are not ideal for wet pavement. So I've definitely been riding super conservatively in the wet. I mean, even when it's not wet, I ride pretty conservatively. And they seem to be doing just fine so far. I was on a higher pace road. I was on like a state route that was like 60 mile an hour, 55, 60 mile an hour, leading me back home, and I just wasn't feeling it. The rain was starting to come down a little bit. I didn't want to get caught on the rain while I was on a faster paced road like that. So I opted to get off, and now I'm kind of navigating manually on back roads to try to sneak my way through those little break in the clouds. TBD if it's a good idea or not. Beyond that, the Barkbusters have also been working well. I haven't laid the bike down yet. I think that's when those things are really going to shine. But the one thing I will say, especially coming off the Monkey, which doesn't have any kind of handguards, the handguards actually do they make a noticeable difference just in blocking wind from your hands. You wouldn't think that that would make a huge difference, but it really does, especially when it's cold. And right now with the storm rolling through, the temperature is definitely dropping significantly, and I'm kind of getting cold. I do not have my heated gear on today. It was like almost 80 degrees earlier today when I was out riding, which is why I got caught so far away from home, because I was just out vibing in the nice weather. And then sure enough, storms rolling through. It's Ohio weather in the spring. Pretty typical. Oh, nice. Look at that train. That's cool. This is actually a nice little road. I've never been down here. Yeah, I was on that state route. The Scrambler does fine at 60 miles an hour, 60 plus. It's not exactly comfortable, but it does okay. With no windshield or anything like that, it's like pretty loud and uncomfortable. But if you have to do it, it'll do it. I just didn't want to do it going straight into a storm. And when I saw lightning strikes ahead of me, that's when I took it as a sign to get off and get into a situation where I have a little bit more control. So typically, I would be on this highway right here headed home. It should be a much faster route. But I also think it would get me there faster right when my hometown is underneath the storm. So I'm kind of purposely going a little bit slower, because right now I believe the storm is right over my hometown, and I'm hoping that if I pace it perfectly, that by the time I get into town, the storm will just be rolling out, or at least that little break in the storm that I saw on the radar. Anyways, that's my hypothetical plan. Let's see, what else? This is not my first time riding on the tires. I probably have, probably a couple 100 miles on these tires a little bit. Once I got the bike back from service and with the tires, I had definitely been riding it a bit without recording any videos. Just getting my bearings with them a little bit, getting comfortable on them. I did take them off-road, I guess off pavement anyways, down some grassy trails, a little bit of mud, a little bit of dirt, and yeah, they definitely are much more confidence inspiring than the Metzeler Karoo Streets, which are the tires that came on the Scrambler. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Another update is that I pulled the trigger on a couple things. The first of which being some soft luggage. I went back and forth on what luggage options to go for. After watching a lot of YouTube, I kind of landed on the idea of soft luggage. I was on Triumph's website for a little bit there, eyeballing some of the Triumph branded luggage that they make specifically for the Scrambler, and it is appetizing. Originally, that was the route that I thought I was going to go, but after doing some research, I made a last-minute pivot, and I changed my mind to a little bit of slide in there. I changed my mind on the luggage route to go with Mosko Moto full soft luggage option, and it should be in the mail here any day. Here's some more standing water. This is cool. All right, we got more standing water. This road is closed technically, but the Triumph can make it. No thing. I'm feeling optimistic about my plan here. Knock on wood. So I believe this is Canal Fulton, Ohio, where I am right now. So yeah, the Triumph on the website, if you go on there, they have like a side-mounted luggage bag that looks really nice, and it also works with the key, the ignition key, to lock it and unlock it, and you can easily take it off. I was deeply considering that. However, one of the deal breakers on that I didn't love was the hardware associated with mounting that bag. You're basically forced to put this like frame foundation on the side of the bike that allows you to mount the bag, and it's kind of semi-permanently there. And while I wanted the bag, I didn't want that hardware mounted to the side of my bike all the time. I really just love the way this bike looks, especially now with the new tires. I kind of have it looking exactly how I want it, and I wanted to preserve that bare bones Scrambler kind of look. I didn't want to be adding racks and kind of hardware onto the back of the bike. I wanted the ability to pretty easily go back to just this bare naked Scrambler look for most of my riding, like when I'm riding around town and things like that. What I ended up getting instead was the Rally Raid rack, which I showed you at the beginning of this video. I'll put some pictures up. And the cool thing about that, and the deciding factor with that, is that the Rally Raid rack easily swaps out with the pillion seat. You couple that with some, what are they called? Rock straps, I think they're called. Rad straps, rock straps. And you can kind of tie anything on there. With the monkey bike, I've got so much utility out of my little luggage rack that I put on the back from Takagawa, as well as the milk crate. I think I'm going to get similar utility out of this Rally Raid rack on the back. But in addition to that, I'm pretty confident, now knock on wood, I'll let you know once my Mosko Moto luggage arrives, but I'm pretty confident that I'm going to very cleanly mount the soft luggage system onto this rack easily. And I got this adapter called the Knoblin, which makes it so it's super easy to put on and off. So when I want to go do some moto camping, which is my intention for this season, I'll be able to put those on there and have much more luggage carrying capability. In fact, it's 80 liters. Actually, I think it's more than that because I got auxiliary pods too. So I think it's like 90 liters. So I should be able to carry all my stuff. And then when I get back home and I'm not camping, I'll be able to go back to this more street-oriented look, or this more kind of bare-bones Scrambler look, which I like. I like that about this setup, theoretically. We'll see once I get it all installed and actually do a trip with it. We'll see how it feels. But also, I've been watching a lot of the off-road guys. I forget the name of the channel that I've been liking a lot. One is the Moto Experience. He's got a ton of good videos specifically on the Triumph 400X Scrambler platform, and he rides out in Moab. He's also been on some trips to Japan, and he's really shared a lot of helpful information about the Scrambler specifically as I've been thinking about building it out. But also, I forget his name, but another good channel, I'll put the exact name on the screen. But this channel has been extremely helpful in learning the basics of what to consider when you're going off pavement. And this guy covers everything from basic riding tips to literally going on a freaking excursion across the Australian outback or deserts. In fact, I just saw a video today, I haven't watched it yet, but he is taking a vintage Africa Twin and riding it around the world. But he's a super experienced rider. He's a really good storyteller and presenter, and I've learned a lot from him. And throughout many of the videos, he's kind of taught me the value of soft luggage compared to hard luggage and hard mounted luggage. And specifically when you're thinking about going off-roading, there's a lot of benefits in having a simple soft luggage setup, keeping your center of gravity as low as possible, things like that. So if you haven't checked out those channels, make sure you do it. But that's kind of the idea behind the Mosko Moto luggage. In addition to that, I also ordered a lot of camping gear. So I think I should be all set. I got a small tent for camping. I got everything I need for a solo setup, just the bare minimum to get out there and experience pretty good grip. I don't feel like it was sliding at all on that. But yeah, I should be all set for my first moto camping trip. So if you're into that and you want to see a guy who's never done it before go out and experience it for the first time, for better or for worse, kind of like right now getting caught in a storm, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to be doing lots of videos. I'm sure I'll do everything from the trips themselves to the gear that I'm choosing and using and learning about. Anything and everything is fair game on this channel, and that's what I've been having the most fun with it. We're about 22 minutes out, and I'm feeling pretty good. You can see that there's dark clouds all around, but above, I've been able to manage to keep the sky relatively pleasant. So that's good. Earlier today, I was riding with my buddy Dan, who has a Can-Am Spyder, which is a significant machine. But we had a great ride. We probably rode, I don't know, maybe 50 miles or so. And I went out to the Cuyahoga Valley. We're just now starting to get a taste of the nicer weather here in Ohio. So going back to the Shinko tires, I forget the number, the exact size, I'll put it up on the screen, but I had to get slightly different size tires. It was the only option with these particular ones. And the only reason I did it is because on some of the Facebook owner groups for the Triumph Scrambler, there were other people who highly recommended them. And I believe that the rear tire is a little bit shorter in diameter, maybe a little bit wider, I forget. But yeah, just a FYI, if you end up looking at these tires for the Scrambler, it's not the exact same dimensions as stock, but they do work really well, and they are tubeless. Definitely make sure that when you order them, that you order the tubeless version, because there is a tubed version as well of the same tire, and actually I ordered that one first on accident. Then I had to cancel my order and replace it. Luckily, RevZilla has super good customer service. I'm feeling pretty good about where we are with this storm right now. I'm like just about to be back into town. So I think this right here is the break in the storm. I think this is the storm that rolled through and it's going that way. It's looking like my timing is going to be pretty good, about as good as it can get. The temperature has dropped significantly. I don't know what the temp is right now, but it's definitely not in the 70s anymore. Okay, we are getting there. Looking good. Just don't dump the bike here. Pretty good traction. And also, ABS on this thing seems to work pretty well too. I don't think it has a wet mode. I think it only has a dirt mode and traction control off. It is one of the cool things about the Scrambler is you have the ability to turn the traction control completely off or use dirt mode. And dirt mode, I think it turns traction control off of the back wheel, I believe, but leaves an element of ABS on the front brakes. I could be wrong on that, but that's my understanding of it. We are back in North Canton. We have made it. About 10 more minutes and I shall be home, as long as I don't get struck by lightning. The Triumph is going to need a bath tomorrow. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen today because I think the storms are only going to get worse tonight. So it's going to go to sleep dirty. It is definitely dirty. But so far, it seems like the Triumph cleans up pretty easily, to be honest. The black on the engine and the frame is the hardest stuff to keep clean. But even with that being said, it's still manageable. The question is how wet is the stuff in my backpack, including my camera. My Fuji's back there, and it is not weatherproof. I think it's weather resistant, but it's not weather sealed, which is unfortunate. 947 miles on the clock, almost to get into the 4 figures. And maybe I should do a 1,000 mile review, as my thoughts and feelings about this bike have evolved a bit since I first got it and rode it on my first couple frigid winter rides. Also, I think like the behavior of the bike is affected by the temperature too when it's that cold. I've noticed that once the bike is warmed up and also the environment is warmed up, I don't know, it might be it's in my head, but it seems like the bike behaves slightly different, for the better, I'd say. Not too bad, a little bit wet, but honestly, not all things considered. For a second there when I was on the that state route, I was headed right into the eye of the storm, and if I would have kept going in there, I would have gotten drenched, as well as probably struck by lightning. So I decided to take it slow, follow the storm through town, and I'm happy to report that I'm about to turn on to Main Street right here, as long as I don't wipe out on these paint lines. Ah, wonderful North Canton. Probably just got hit by the storm. I think the police are all pretty familiar with me in this town. The yellow motorbike guy. Between riding this and the monkey, they have definitely all probably seen me multiple times per day. Well, I think that's gonna do it for this one. Survived to see another day. Hopefully by next time you'll see me, this bike will be cleaned up we'll go on more adventures, but I figured I was out riding and got caught in the storm, so I figured I might as well record because it might be my last ride ever. But happy to report I'm still here, knock on wood. I'm not home yet, but it's right up here around the corner. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so. We're doing more videos on the monkey bike, more videos on this Triumph Scrambler. If you're into that sort of thing, hit the subscribe button, and until the next one, we'll see you later. Peace.